Good evening. Welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom on the program tonight as the unparalleled Jallikattu protests in Tamil Nadu continue. There is for the first time a sign that a solution may be in sight. The Attorney General has said that an ordinance can legally be passed by the state government. But while that may deal with the immediate situation, what if this ordinance too gets stayed by the Supreme Court? That's a distinct possibility. That, of course, only time can tell. Meanwhile, on the ground in Chennai, at the Marina beach, and now in other parts of Tamil Nadu, other parts of the country, and even outside India, the protests seem to be intensifying. Thousands of people right now as we speak are out for a third night demanding that Jallikattu, the bull taming sport, be allowed to happen. They say that their Pongal celebrations have been ruined without Jallikattu. Markets, schools and colleges are shut. There are no taxis and autos in places. Like the last few days, the Jallikattu protests, which are now spreading to other parts of Tamil Nadu, are peaceful. But when will all of these protests end? That is our big focus today. We'll bring you highlights of the day's developments, the present situation, and bring you our debate. Let's quickly bring you the latest on-the-ground situation in Chennai with these Jallikattu protests getting larger and larger.
Protests against the Jallikattu ban by students outside Tamil Nadu House in Delhi. This was where Chief Minister Pannir Selvam spent the night.
Whatever may happen, we will not let down. We'll protest until we get a positive result for Jallikattu.
Forced by the huge protests in his state, the Chief Minister met the Prime Minister. But the centre ruled out an ordinance, saying the case is in the Supreme Court. However, it would support steps taken by the state government. The Chief Minister, however, is optimistic.
தேவையான நடவடிக்கைகளை மத்திய அரசுடன் இணைந்து உடனடியாக எடுப்போம் என தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன்.
But as he hopes for some positive movement, his big concern, the swell of protesters in Chennai.
Why can't our central government now pass an ordinance to conduct Jallikattu? Why they are betraying the Tamils for the state second time action?
They show no signs of backing down. They strictly want an ordinance or some kind of relief from the present crisis.
As the crowds surge, many are advocating a compromise.
Jallikattu happens with all rules and regulations. That is the biggest gift that the government could give back to the youngsters.
But for now, no one is listening. This morning, a PMK MP protesting for Jallikattu was detained by the police as he tried to stage a dharna outside Prime Minister's home.
I not understand why when it comes to Tamil Nadu issues, the central government fails to take a strong stand.
The Chief Minister was to leave for Chennai this evening, but his overnight stay raises doubts. Sources say he is meeting experts to find out whether the state can do something legally to bring back Jallikattu. With Sam Daniel in Chennai, this is Arunachalam Vaidyanathan, NDTV.
All right, well, we've got a big panel this evening. I'm going to introduce our panelists before going across to NDTV's Uma Sudhir, who's at the Marina beach in Chennai. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev joins us this evening. Sadhguru, thank you very much for being with us. Khushbu Sundar, N. Ram with us as well. We've got Dr. Tamilisai, the president of the Tamil Nadu BJP, Dr. Nikun Sharma, the government lawyer for PETA, will be joining us among other panelists. I'm now going to go across to Uma Sudhir. Uma, what is the situation around you at this stage at Marina Beach where you are?
Vishnu, the merits of Jallikattu apart, the atmosphere here at Marina Beach is really electric, with people coming here in such large numbers, and everywhere you will see congregations like this. Right now what's happening here is in fact a street play that these people have put together, where someone is acting like OPS, someone else like the Prime Minister, someone else like the people of Tamil Nadu, and it is amusing everyone around because all of them are here for one purpose. They feel let down by the political leadership, whether it is OPS or the central government or Prime Minister Modi, and they believe that their protest should continue till such time that the Chief Minister, not the Chief Minister actually, they would like the Prime Minister to address them and tell them that Jallikattu can happen. They understand that there are legalities involved, that the Prime Minister has said that there is going to be no ordinance, but many of them are pointing out that when demonetization happened, the Prime Minister was able to, in fact, in a sense, not follow proper procedure and was able to bring about something that he believed is good for the country. And that's something that's an argument that these people will also put forth to say that this, we believe, is important to preserve the bulls of Tamil Nadu
Right.
for the genetic reasons, for the cultural reasons, for the traditions that we have. But the numbers have just been swelling, and they in fact intend to intensify this stir tomorrow, and that perhaps is going to be the worrying aspect, and also holding a dialogue with these people is going to be a very, very big challenge.
So, Uma, let me ask you this. Just in the last little while, and I'm saying within the last half an hour or so, there are signs that things are moving towards an ordinance, contrary to what we've been reporting all day when there didn't seem to be progress. Now there seems to be a little bit of progress, with the Attorney General actually saying that the state government does have the right to push through an ordinance. This has to obviously officially be announced by the state government, but we are reporting this at this stage. But among the protesters on the ground, there is no word of this as yet, is there?
Vishnu, protesters on the ground realize that this is a confusing situation, that there are legalities involved, and they also understand that if the state government were to bring in an ordinance, it would still be a temporary relief that they are getting. What they are asking for is, in fact, many of them, like their ministers and like the ministers from here have been articulating, like their political leaders have been articulating, they want Parliament to sit and, in fact, change the law so that what the Supreme Court has done in this particular case, in a sense, will not apply to the bull that they believe is a very important symbol for their thing. In fact, that has become the most popular wear here, this one that everyone is sporting, as though your identity, in a sense, is going to be defined by this horns that you're wearing, because they believe that the Jallikattu is important to them, and it means many, many more things than just the conservation of a traditional sport.
Uma, just for the benefit of viewers across the country, where you are, we always get these number predictions wrong, but I'll take a guess with many riders that Uma might be off the mark. But are we looking at more than 10,000 people right now? Just a very ballpark estimation.
Vishnu, police own estimate is about 15,000 people. I will not make a guess at all, because from where we are, there is a huge stretch that we are talking about all along Marina Beach, and it is not just Marina Beach where people have congregated. You have the OMR, there are multiple locations in Chennai itself where people have congregated, and in fact the call from here has been that tomorrow all of them should in fact come to Marina Beach, so the swell in numbers can be there. And I must also point out, Vishnu, that there is not a single policeman on Marina Beach. All the monitoring that's happening is from a building across the road. Every once in a while there will be some officials who will come in, look through their binoculars, and of course they must be having their men deployed here to make the assessments on the ground about the mood of the people. Back to you, Vishnu.
All right, Uma, we'll keep coming back to you. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to go across now to our panelists. I'll go across first to Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. Sadhguru, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Firstly, sir, can you share with people in Tamil Nadu a message of peace? It's so important. There are more than 15,000 people in Chennai alone out protesting for the third night. Can you send out a message of peace that things must remain calm, come what may?
This is a moment where I'm very proud that the urban youth have come out in support of a rural sport that they themselves may not be actually involved in. The commitment with which they have come out is wonderful, and I think till now they have maintained this discipline. It's very important that this process is peaceful. It is also important to project that Jallikattu itself is a celebratory sport. It is not a violent sport of fighting with the bull. So when we are not even fighting with the beast, we are embracing the beast. It's very important that the youth of Tamil Nadu understand protest is fine, demands are fine. We must maintain this discipline and maintain peace. We should not take law into our hands. Till now, as your reporters were saying, there is no police, but people have managed this well, and I'm sure they will manage this. I have this trust in them that they will not go violent. I hope no action will be taken in such a way that the crowds will react and violence will happen. Such a thing should not happen. and I'm confident that it will not happen.
Sadhguru, would you say that that has a large deal to do with the fact that there is no political instigator, as it were? All political parties in Tamil Nadu actually support these protesters, but they are not out amongst these protesters trying to instigate anything, trying to score political points. It's all being led by people, primarily young people, educated people, employed people. It's not a political movement, it's a spontaneous movement of young professionals and students.
Yes, definitely. Usually this, any assembly turns out to be violent because there are some instigators, because they have their own vested interests in this. This is not a group of vested interests. These are people who are genuinely concerned about the rural Tamil people being robbed of their culture, of their sport. The rural youth do not have anything else to play. They don't have football stadiums or boxing rings or anything. All they have is Jallikattu, which happens once a year, and trying to deny them that simply because they didn't have the ability to represent themselves well in the courts. So this is a concerned group which is protesting. This is not a vested interest, so definitely that is added to the nature of how the protests are being done. I'm sure it will be peaceful.
Okay, I'm going to go across to my other panelists. Sadhguru, be with us. I'll ask you questions independently. I know you don't want to be part of a debate per se.
I have to leave.
Bear with us for another 5 minutes, sir. Bear with us for another 5 minutes. I won't put you as part of the debate. I know you don't want to be part of it. Let me go across to you, Mr. N. Ram. Thanks very much for being with us this evening. So, why is it that even earlier on, when this had been banned, and after that ban in 2015, there was no spontaneous outpouring as we've seen now. It's happening now after went back to the Supreme Court for the second time. Why is it that in the past there weren't protests like this?
The first reason is that this is post Jallikattu. She had a lot of authority, and although she supported the return of Jallikattu, she did it in an orderly manner. But the Chief Minister, her successor, Chief Minister Selvam, made a statement that to the effect that come what may, he would ensure that Jallikattu would be held during Pongal. And I think that raised expectations, and given the weak leadership, the weak state of the leadership in the state, despite the support of other parties, I think this went out of control so far as the state government is concerned. It's true that by and large it has been completely peaceful and even orderly. That's a very good thing, that these young people are demonstrating peacefully, and it's also good that the police have not done anything to provoke them. From what you just heard in the report earlier, they are on the other side of the street just watching it, and I think that's a very good thing. But the answer to your question is, first, in the absence of a strong, effective leader, and given the fact that somebody has promised what obviously couldn't be delivered, the disappointment is greater. There are also other grievances on the Kaveri and so on. All that is behind this. People feel that Tamil Nadu has not been given a good deal from the center, or the state government is not effective. They're not very clear about it. So Jallikattu really in that sense represents far more than what it means on the surface. So that's the reason. Nevertheless, they have a problem, because the Supreme Court
I just want to go across
the judgment of 2014 is very strong and clear.
Yes.
It has struck down, it holds Jallikattu to be unacceptable under the Prevention of Cruelty Act.
Mr. Ram, just a moment, sir. I want to go across and get a quick reaction to something that you actually said. Dr. Tamilisai, the president as president of the Tamil Nadu BJP, would you say that this is more than just Jallikattu itself? It's about how lots of people in Tamil Nadu feel that some of their interests, whether it's water sharing or perhaps even some of the promises which have been made to them, have not been met, whether by the state or by the center. Is that what this is all about?
No, I deny that, because if we are not caring about the traditional play of Jallikattu, we wouldn't have passed a notification in 2015 and which was quashed by the Supreme Court. And apart from that, so many schemes, even saving the fishermen and caring about the fishermen and construction of a hospital, 150 crores for elders, and continuously central government Uday scheme, and continuously central government is caring about the Tamil Nadu. And apart from that, even the Congress government didn't do that. In 2015, we passed a notification, and which if that notification would have been on 13th of January, we would have conducted the Jallikattu. Unfortunately, it was quashed. So this type of argument, it is almost put forth. It is the Congress Karnataka government which is denying water. So
but why is this a Congress versus why is this a Congress versus BJP issue? Because the Animal Welfare Board of India, which is a statutory body, it had actually advised the government, right? It's independent of the BJP and the Congress. It had advised this government not to go against what the Supreme Court had earlier said. The Supreme Court didn't want it. Despite the advice of a statutory body, which is not a Congress body, the government chose to make statements. Leaders like Mr. Jallikattu chose to make statements that by Pongal, the Jallikattu would be back. But you never took into account what the Supreme Court might feel. And the Supreme Court turned around and said, no, there is a stay. So why are you blaming the Congress for any of this? Where do they come in?
No, I'm not blaming, because it was the ban which was created during the Congress government. Why our Honorable Javadekar and our Honorable Environment Minister assuring that Jallikattu will be conducted this time, because the argument by the government put forth in the court was very valid argument, and the notification we have clearly mentioned that this Jallikattu is a traditional play and it has a religious belief and it should be allowed. So another thing, we have challenged the Animal Welfare Board. They cannot challenge the notification of a government. These are all in the arguments. But unfortunately, we didn't get the verdict. So only the government is unable to move further. So it is in the court verdict which is blocking the procedure, and the same thing was put forth by our Honorable Prime Minister.
I want to go across to Khushbu Sundar of the Congress Party. Khushbu, good evening. Thanks very much for being with us. The point being mentioned is that it was when the Congress was in power that bulls were added to the list of animals which needed to be banned in celebrations like this. That's what the BJP has repeatedly been saying, that it's your fault, and yet the Congress today is pro-Jallikattu.
Yes, 2011 was brought in, the ordinance was brought in by Jairam Rameshji, but let me remind Tamilisai Soundarajan that and the entire BJP, that 2012, 2013 and 2014, we had played Jallikattu under the entire 10 years of UPA governance in India. All the 10 years, Tamil Nadu has seen Jallikattu happening in Tamil Nadu, and 2012, 13 and 14, it was under Regulation Act, which we had sought permission. The ban came in 2014 from the Supreme Court. So how do they blame the Congress? No, so all the 10 years, since the last 3 years, BJP has been in the center, and last 3 years, and the last 3 years, we have not seen Jallikattu happening. No. But let me finish my point, Vishnu. Now the thing is, I would very humbly request them that say it's not about BJP, Congress or anybody else. Let us understand, let us stand united that this is one point when Tamil Nadu needs to be united, irrespective of which party we belong to. This is not the time for blame game. We can keep blaming each other. We have a lot of time for that. But this is a time when we see the youngsters, the youth, the educated class we talk about, because many a times when I go on the debate, people keep saying the educated class is against it. I'm so glad that Sadhguru Jagi Vasudevan has spoken so well, and you must hand it out, you must give it, and salute the people of Tamil Nadu today, that all over Tamil Nadu you see this kind of demonstration and protest, but yet they are so peaceful, so organized, and it's only the educated class we see who have been there out on the streets. So let's not blame each other.
I know Dr. Tamilisai wants to reply to that, but I want to both of you to pause for a moment, because the Sadhguru will be leaving us. So I wanted to ask the Sadhguru one more question before I go back to the President of the Tamil Nadu BJP. Sadhguru, you'd mentioned a little while earlier on that a lot of the people in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere who were in favor of Jallikattu did not get the opportunity to represent themselves effectively in the Supreme Court. Sadhguru, the counter argument to that would be it was an open proceeding. Anybody could have been attached to that particular case and presented a particular perspective. That was not done, but you can't blame anybody for not appearing. Anybody could have done that had they chosen to.
This is not about blaming anybody. An activist group which is funded from outside the country has the ability to hire the best lawyers and represent themselves well in Supreme Court. The farmers of this country do not have that ability. It is not about blaming somebody, they didn't have the ability. And above all, nobody in Tamil Nadu ever believed that a 5,000-year-old sport will be just taken away from them with a court order. They did not even understand that. When you asked the earlier question that why it was banned in 2014, only why now, 2015, now we are protesting, this is because nobody believed it's a reality. When the Pongal came and they could not conduct the sport, when there was a restriction to conduct the sport, that's when people understood this for real. Otherwise, some news that came somewhere that a court has banned this thing did not really sink into people because they didn't think such a thing is possible. Because this is the only festival, or this is one of the few festivals in the country where we are honoring the animals which are stakeholders in our economic well-being, in our agricultural production, and in our daily life. In so many different ways, these animals participate. Being an agricultural nation, being an agro-based communities, over 65% still being in agriculture, we must understand this. These animals are stakeholders, partners in everything that we do.
Okay.
Honoring them is most important.
Okay.
And this is a festival dedicated to that. It is celebratory in nature. This is not a bullfight.
Okay, Doctor, thank you, Sadhguru, very much for joining us with that perspective. Dr. Nikunj Sharma, you liaise closely with the government, but you are with PETA. There's a demand for PETA to be banned. How do you respond to what all the other panelists have said so far?
See, with all due respect to first thing, Sadhguruji, I would like to just, refresh a bit of history. When they say that, that so-called foreign-funded organizations are working to get Tamil culture banned or Jallikattu banned, just a bit of a history refresher that I want to take them through, that in 2006, a Tamil person from Madurai, Mr. A. Nagaraja, filed a case in the High Court of Madras asking for a ban on Jallikattu when his son was gored to death in a Jallikattu event. That is when in 2006, the single bench of Madras High Court banned Jallikattu. In 2009, it was challenged by a division bench, and which allowed the regulation of, which started the Tamil Nadu Regulation of Jallikattu Act and allowed Jallikattu events to happen under certain regulations. In 2011, in 2007, the Animal Welfare Board of India filed an SLP in the Supreme Court of India. PETA only joined in 2011. So this whole argument is to digress the attention from the real issue, which is cruelty to bulls, that foreign-funded organizations are here to decimate the native breed. I'll come to that argument as well about the native breed decimation, if I'm given time. But you cannot take, the focus away from the fact that the inspection and investigation report that was submitted to the Honorable Supreme Court of India, the Supreme Court of India very categorically in their judgment said that bulls are not anatomically designed to run. Their bodies are not anatomically fit to run. Bulls are prey animal. They do not run breakneck speed of their own wish. And in order to make them run, you have to twist their tails, break their bones, you have to poke them with sharp objects, and all of this was actually documented in photo and video evidence, which was submitted to the Honorable Supreme Court. So the facts are already clear. They cannot be contested again because the Supreme Court of India has already considered those facts.
No, but there could well be an ordinance now.
So I think the debate should remain.
No, but you made lots of points, Dr. Sharma, and I appreciate that. But just tell me one very basic point. Assuming there is an ordinance, because we believe the Attorney General has suggested to the state government that they can pass an ordinance, would you go back to the Supreme Court to try and get another stay if this ordinance is passed?
See, I don't think that is possible, what the Attorney General had said, because if a state government could pass their own notification or an ordinance, then why would the Supreme Court would have stayed the 2016 notification issued by the central government itself?
No, so there is a way.
So we'll have to, at this point, I'm only hearing this from you.
There is a way. No, it's out. The Attorney General has been speaking across channels now, saying that it's in the hands of the state government. There may be a way that could be found. Khushbu, what we are told, in fact, and this is my interpretation, all that the Attorney General has said is that there may be a way out in terms of an ordinance. My interpretation is that the state government has a power under the Constitution. There is something called Entry 28 of the state list, which empowers the state to promulgate ordinances on fairs and markets. Therefore, Jallikattu could be categorized as a fair and the state can issue an ordinance. This is my understanding of what this ordinance might be. But do you now see it also inevitable, Khushbu, that an ordinance is the only way out?
We need to bring in an ordinance. Anything that can let Jallikattu happen in Tamil Nadu is definitely most welcomed. But you know, I don't want to sound political, but then when you look at it, our Honorable Chief Minister, OPS, had gone to the Prime Minister and handed over the ordinance, and then we were hoping that there will be a positive response from the central government and the Prime Minister. It was a very big disappointment where he said that since it's sub-judiciary, I will not be able to intervene, and he said, but I will stand by with any decision taken by the state government. Now, you see, the people down here, they do not want to understand the legalities. They do not want to understand IPC section.
No, but it is a legal issue.
What. The ordinance says what and what the Supreme Court says. No, that's what I'm saying. It's a legal issue. We're not going away from the legal issue. Okay. But the thing is, it's like putting the ball in each other's court. I give it to you, you pass it on back to me, and I pass it back on to you. We don't want that. We need a solution to this. We have seen people on the streets. For 3 years, they have been keeping quiet, hoping that somewhere there will be a breakthrough and we will be able to celebrate Jallikattu. And let me tell Peter, they don't even understand. They're saying that they came in 2011, but let me tell you, this complete ban from Supreme Court came in 2014, only after Peter came in. And even in 2016,
so, but how is that?
It was Peter
how is
who
that
had
Peter's fault? It's a Supreme Court judgment. So you're now going to blame the Supreme Court?
It's a Supreme Court judgment, but the kind of argument, the kind of argument Peter had put forth in Supreme Court when Peter says that it was one Tamilian who had filed a case in the High Court because his son was gosh, it definitely saddens us that we lost a life in Jallikattu. But can we please even understand that we lose a person every day on the streets, on highway,
no, but that's
because of negligence of the bus drivers or anybody else? Do we stop? No, I'm saying so many people have filed cases in the court. Do we medical negligence?
Yeah, but we don't condone the death of anybody, any one person for another cause. No, Khushbu?
Absolutely. So one bull. So why ban the entire sport which has been practiced for the last 5,000 years? And let me remind them, when you talk about Jallikattu, it's about it's not about sport alone. It's not about pride alone.
Okay, that's also questionable. But let me go across to Mr. N. Ram, who's been waiting patiently, and Dr. Tamilisa, I'll come across to you as well. Sir, how do you respond to what Khushbu is actually saying? And she said so many points. One of them is that, look, this is not a sport that kills lots of people. Yes, there may have been accidents, but why throw the baby, as it were, with the bath water? Why ban the entire thing?
No, actually, this is the question I should ask to Khushbu. Because in 2011 it was there.
Okay, Dr. Tamil, one moment, ma'am, I'm asking Mr. Ram.
And they did.
I'm asking Mr. Ram, and I promise you I'll come to you next. Mr. Ram?
Yeah, the first thing is this demonization of PETA is ridiculous, because as has been pointed out, it's the Animal Welfare Board that's really taken it up. Secondly, let them please study the Supreme Court order, a Supreme Court judgment of May 7, 2014 by Justices K.S. Radhakrishnan and Pinaki Chandra Ghosh, and it's very, very clear what it's all about. We don't have time to go into the details, but let me just point this out. The TNRJ Act, that is the Tamil Nadu Regulation of Jallikattu Act of 2009, is found repugnant to PCA Act, that's the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960, which is a welfare legislation, hence held constitutionally void, being violative of Article 254(1) of the Constitution of India and so forth. And they've gone into it in great detail. in order to enable Jallikattu to take place, an ordinance will need to overcome the huge bar set by this act.
Okay.
If they do it temporarily, I think the matter is subject to what the Supreme Court rules. We are told that the Supreme Court has said that the draft is ready, but we need time to decide on this matter. So it's going to take, it's a very big ask to overthrow the decision of 2014.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Tamilisa, you've been waiting, ma'am, for a long time. Come in with the points that you were trying to make.
Yeah, two things, because I want to oppose, because our sister Gushpu was telling, in 2012-13 we conducted Jallikattu, because it was under the guidance of the notification of the Supreme Court it was conducted. It was our Honorable Jairam Ramesh who added the bull in the exhibiting animal list, and because of that only we are facing the problem. Another thing, as you asked whether the state government can pass an ordinance, last time itself when our central government notification was quashed by the Supreme Court, there was a suggestion even from the central ministers, a state government can pass an ordinance to conduct Jallikattu. Because it is now also our Honorable Chief Minister can decide, because our Honorable Prime Minister has assured whatever the support which could be rendered to the state government can be rendered to the state government. So, it is the Chief Minister should decide. Another thing, apart from the Regulation Act, the situation in Tamil Nadu is alarming. The situation in Tamil Nadu is extraordinary. So, considering the situation and considering the mindset of the youngsters, a huge number of youngsters in Tamil Nadu, as it is a state subject, it can be decided as state government can put forth an ordinance. From the last year, Tamil Nadu BJP is also demanding they can put forth an ordinance.
But ma'am, let me ask you a quick question. Do you believe an ordinance is happening? It's in the works. We believe the Attorney General has suggested or recommended to the state government that can happen. Is that what you as BJP state president are also hearing? That tomorrow is going to be the big day?
Yes, we want it. Because when there is possibilities...
No, ma'am, you want it, but are you getting it is my question. Have you been told that there will be an ordinance?
We will get it. We have to get it. We have to get it.
All right. Okay.
Because we have to get it. We want Jallikattu. We are with Tamil Nadu people. The Tamil Nadu BJP is for Jallikattu and we want to play Jallikattu. We will lead Jallikattu.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to my panelists in a moment, but I'd just like to cut across full screen to the shots that we are getting from Marina Beach. This is right now. I was speaking to my colleague Uma Sudhir just a while back, and there were 15,000 people at Marina Beach as we speak right now. That's what the police are saying, but these estimates could be lower than what the actual situation is. It could be slightly higher as well, the real numbers. But these protests taking place not just in Chennai, but in other parts of Tamil Nadu. The numbers are absolutely huge. Just remember that the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Mr. Paneerselvam, met the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said that he will back what the state government has to do. The Attorney General has now suggested that an ordinance can in fact be passed, which would ensure that Jallikattu could be legalized. Therefore, will there be progress? Let's see. Perhaps tomorrow these protests may well end, but the larger question remains, what if this goes back to the Supreme Court? Is a stay almost inevitable? We do not have any clear answers to that as yet.